Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. The subject of the discourse today is effort, key to spiritual progress. In the Maha Sutta, Lord Buddha explains the nature of spiritual practice as an integral part of life. Spirituality cannot be separated from one's day-to-day normal life. The moment one does that, a false dichotomy between the spiritual and the mundane is created, messing up one's moral and mental development. Basically, spiritual life is a process of purification brought about by right living. This should be very clearly understood by all seekers of truth. Inner purification is a step-by-step process. It's a step-by-step approach, turning life itself into a source of blessing. We don't need to seek blessings from supernatural beings or from any external source whatsoever. Blessing is right within us if only we know how to acquire it by a particular way of living. Life itself is productive of blessing when our lifestyle is a process of purification. How? The Maha Sutta makes it very clear indeed. Based on the Maha Sutta, here is a bird's eye view of the spiritual life that brings blessings of all kinds every day. Even the worst experiences of life can become a source of blessing provided we learn from our mistakes and failures, etc. When failures and mistakes, which are created often by our own foolish way of living, now when these are turned into sources of blessings, life becomes nothing but a process of purification brought about by every seeker of truth and enlightenment. The core theme of the Maha Sutta is to turn life into a series of blessings by progressively bringing about inner purification on a day-to-day basis. Every day we should excel our own deeds of yesterday. In this way, we should be able to record some self-improvement every day. This is called the life of excellence as envisaged by the Maha Sutta. Specifically, what is self-purification? If this question is asked, the answer would be the Maha Sutta gives the answer by spelling out 4 modes of purification. Firstly, purification of morality or moral conduct. Basically, morality deals with what is good or bad, wholesome or unwholesome, proper or improper, etc. Good or bad are measurable facts, not merely concepts or religious beliefs. No. The criteria for judging what is right or wrong, good or bad, are hard psychological facts beyond controversy. So purification of morality will have to be measurable conduct or day-to-day action. Ultimately, action is the core element of life. From the time we get up in the morning till we retire at night, whatever we do is reducible to some form of action. That is, either it is doing something bodily, saying something verbally, or thinking something mentally, such as imagining, thinking, judging, planning, etc. Now, all these day-to-day mental activities, you see, mental day-to-day functions are really mental activities. So thought, speech, and action are the three things that we are engaged in all the time from morning till night. In other words, life can be reduced just to these three types of volitional activities. Good or bad relates to activities which are volitionally or intentionally performed. And unintentional action does not come under what is ethically good or bad. It is the intentional action that comes under ethical action. Moral purification is the first step towards spiritualizing life, meaning that which turns life productive of blessings all the time. When we purify our conduct, it becomes quantifiable progress. That is, we can actually measure whether we are spiritually progressing through our actions. Suppose yesterday a person had spoken 20 lies and today it is 10 or less. That means he or she has excelled in moral conduct from yesterday. This is how the purification of morality is brought about, enabling one to measure spiritual progress. To excel one's previous moral and spiritual performances, one has to overcome anger by patience and friendly gestures, avarice by generosity, ignorance by knowledge and understanding. Thus, in Buddhism, moral purification is a here and now measurable spiritual activity. In other words, in Buddha's Dhamma, there is no conceptualized morality whatsoever. It is straightforward spiritual purification through purification of conduct. So the importance of moral purification can never be overemphasized. There was a bhikkhu who lived a pure life of morality all his life. When he became very old, he recalled his actions to find out whether he had violated even a single rule of monastic conduct. Buddhist monks voluntarily undertake to practice 227 rules of monastic conduct, or rather monastic discipline. He had not broken even one rule all these long years since he became a bhikkhu. Since he lived a very pure and holy life, the way he conducted himself was so beautiful that people thought he must have become an enlightened being. When he was in his deathbed, his disciple came to him and asked, "Venerable Sir, please tell us about your spiritual achievements so that emulating your conduct, we too might live the holy life as you have lived." In monastic life, often a disciple asks whether the teacher had attained any supermundane state of spiritual development. That is, whether he has become an arahat, an anagami, a sakaragami, or a sotapanna, or a jhanalabhi, etc. Enlightenment is not a sudden achievement. No. Through a step-by-step process, one attains enlightenment in stages, starting with that of a sotapanna, one who has entered the stream of nibbana, that is spiritual deliverance from the bondage of samsaric existence. The young monk asked for the second time, "Venerable Sir, please tell us in what stage are you now, so that we may worship you and gain spiritual merit, punya." He said, "My dear, don't ask me of any supernormal experiences. You first tell me why you are asking this question." He said, "Venerable Sir, having heard that you are in a critical stage, a lot of devotees have come to the vihara. They think that you have become an arahat or an anagami and so on. If they hear that you have not attained these states, they will be very disappointed, Venerable Sir. That is why we are asking you about your attainment." He then replied, "I don't want to make them unhappy, my dear. I don't want that they should go back disappointed. So, come on, bring 2 or 3 pillows and make me sit straight." You see, he was not able to sit, being in a very critical condition. So he had to lie down all the time. They made him sit by supporting him with many pillows. He then entered into meditation. His meditation subject was the Satipatthana method of cultivating mindfulness, leading to clear comprehension of reality. He focused his mind, recalling his conduct from the time he became a monk till that moment when he was facing death, to find out whether he had broken any of the rules of monastic conduct and violated his moral discipline in any manner. He could not find even a single mistake anywhere or a single violation of moral conduct. So he told his disciple, "My dear, I can tell you this much, that from the time I had become a bhikkhu, through these 60 years, I have not committed a single violation of the moral conduct. I have kept my moral life intact and pure. May by the power of this, I now enter into the higher stages. He then plunged into meditation, developing the concentration. Fast, he gained the supramental states of jhana, stage by stage, that is samadhi, stage by stage. Then he developed the vipassana, states of insight into reality, and soon became an arahat. All this happened because of his absolutely pure moral purification, moral life, with no violation of monastic conduct in any manner. Just for one day now, let us say an experiment is made. Just for one day, a person tries out to live a life of pure moral conduct. Just one day, an experiment, living a pure moral conduct. Then at the end of the day, sit down and recall whatever you have done from morning till evening. In deed, in speech, and in thought, such as judging, etc. And if one finds that something wrong has been committed, there is something which could have been avoided, and one makes a sankalpa then, that is a mental determination, saying, I will not repeat this mistake tomorrow. I will do away with this weakness. Next day, you repeat the same experiment, it will be seen that you have actually succeeded in living a very clean life on that day, with no violation of moral discipline of any kind. Here and now, then you will see the amount of joy that wells up in your heart. Here and now you will see what moral discipline can do. In other words, moral purification is something which is measurable and quantifiable, and not a theoretical matter at all. It's a very practical spiritual experience indeed. This is how a Buddhist spiritually evolves on a day-to-day basis in spiritual life. That is, each day becomes a day of excelling prior spiritual progress. When one excels each day the previous performance, then every day becomes meaningful and a spiritual adventure. When one undertakes moral purification in this manner, then one lives a measurable, pure moral life necessary for the successful practice of meditation. Without moral purification, it is hard to achieve anything in meditation. This should be understood. A serious attempt at moral purification would require voluntary undertaking of practicing at least the basic 5 precepts known as Panchashila. These self-imposed moral precepts cover all aspects of life. That is, whatever one does in day-to-day life. For instance, the way one behaves or interacts with people, particularly with the members of one's family, that is parents, children, wife, husband, etc. Now, one's conduct through one's behaviors and manners also can be measured. If one has improved the way one speaks, that is kindly and lovingly, if one understands and then one has tolerance for others, and this understanding and tolerance has improved. If one knows how to forgive, because one also seeks forgiveness from others when one makes a mistake, then one's moral life too has considerably improved. Morality includes how one uses, for instance, basic needs of life. That is, the essential things for living a healthy, comfortable life, such as food, clothes, a place to stay or medicaments and so on. How we make use of all these day-to-day essentials of life is also a measure for moral purification. If one eats, for instance, food just for the sake of satisfying greed and rapacity, then there is no question of purification of morality. Eating should become an instrument for moral purification. To be able to do that, one has to reflect on the purpose of eating. If one reflects on, let us say one questions oneself and says, well, why do I eat? Is it to please my tongue, or is it to make myself a very healthy, a fat or stout person, so that, you see, I can overcome others? Or if it is, I eat because so that a healthy body will bring about healthy mind. And when both mind and body are healthy, I can become spiritually healthy too. So when one reflects in this manner, one eats very wisely and definitely makes moral progress. There is absolutely no doubt about that. Just try one day and you'll see for yourself. So one has to be very careful as to how one makes use of everything of daily use, all the essential needs of life, whether eating at home or in the office or in a restaurant. It doesn't matter where it is done. Important thing is that eating as a necessity has to be turned into a tool for moral purification. That is the important thing. Once this essential point is understood, then an amoral act like eating can be turned into a moral act, turning life into a spiritual adventure. Spirituality does not come from trees or from the sky, or from anywhere else whatsoever. It's a process of inward purification and development, just that. This must be understood. Similarly, one now extends this exercise further. Now, if one has the same attitude with reference to the other essentials, like having a home, etc. Now, home is where one lives to be comfortable, necessary for spiritual progress. The question of ownership becomes irrelevant when one uses home just as a resting place and nothing more. In other words, anything that we use should be a tool to improve our daily moral life. Some people confine their moral life to the precepts, whether it's Panchashila, 5 precepts, or 8, or 10, or the 27 monastic rules, 227 monastic rules. Those rules as moral discipline do bring about moral purification, no doubt. But morality extends further. It extends to how we interact with the people and with the world, how we use essential things of life, and how we spend our time, for instance, anywhere, home or park or anywhere. Whether we just do nothing or just lying down, lazing about, reading some newspaper, etc., or doing something that contributes to improve our moral life. That is important. To repeat, morality should be viewed in a comprehensive manner. For instance, for a month, the rules of conduct are just one form of moral purification, and that is fulfilled by means of the faculty of faith, Saddha. One has faith in the Buddha's enlightenment, and therefore in the Buddha's capacity to bring about enlightenment in others. Similarly, one has faith in the Dhamma's, ability to bring about self-perfection or enlightenment, and faith in the Sangha, the exemplars of spiritual life leading to enlightenment. So with this firm faith in the triple gem, Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, when one undertakes to practice the rules of moral conduct in a humble manner, not in a showy way, then one is sure to bring about moral purification day after day. However, the rules alone are not enough. All the things we use, that is, the 4 requisites, should be used with wise reflection and extend this process of self-control to other spheres as well. For instance, one should apply self-restraint over the 6 sense spheres, such as over the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, bodily contact, and over all mental activities. This is possible by exercising mindfulness, sati, over all sensory and mental interactions. Furthermore, moral restraint should be applied to one's livelihood, the way one ekes out living. That is, one makes a living. For moral purification to be effective and successful, one has to exert and exert hard indeed. Without effort, no one can ever progress. No God, no Guru, no religion can bring about spiritual purification except by one's own effort. Therefore, effort, and effort. That is the vital center of spiritual life. One can actually measure one's spiritual progress by the amount of effort that one puts forth. This is the central theme of Buddha's teachings. May the grace of Lord Buddha surround your lives with wisdom, May you be enabled to put forth relentless effort, never giving in, but effort, effort, effort. May you be successful in this endeavor. May you all be happy and well. Sukhino bhavantu.